Uber world. Is the future filled with autonomous cars under the Uber moniker? Our next guest spoke with CEO Travis Kalanick as well as others at the company and digs into the startup that went from 0 to 70 billion, or at least near it. Her story is the cover of this week's issue of The Economist, which hits newsstands tomorrow. Alexandra Suich is the U.S. tech editor for The Economist and joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Alexandra, I'm wondering, in your conversations with Uber, was there anything that sort of presaged what we've seen happen in China with Uber kind of taking a different strategy and getting together with Didi, and maybe the closer competition with Google that appears to be emerging with them expanding this Waze carpool in the U.S.? A lot of different things that Uber has to balance these days.
That's right. I think one of the things that came out in my reporting and talking with Travis and some of the other executives is that Uber has been really willing to change throughout its life. So it's launched 6 years ago as a black limo company. It switched to UberX, even though there was a lot of internal dissent about whether they should launch a peer-to-peer ride-sharing service. That, of course, is why it's so successful today. It accounts for the bulk of its sales. And then with throwing the towel in China, I think it was an incredibly smart move, ultimately. Although it was portrayed as defeat in China and America, they now are able to continue to have exposure to the Chinese ride-hailing market, which is an enormous opportunity without ever needing to spend a dime in the future. So a kind of nimble, creative decision-making, I think, is one of the things that Uber prides itself on.
Alexandra, how important is Uber's move into moving stuff versus just people right now? I mean, I know kind of as a customer, I've experienced these different phases that Uber's gone through. Right now, the Uber X's that I've tended to get have been in pretty sorry shape. I mean, worse than cabs in terms of the cleanliness, sometimes the quality of the car. Their focus seems to be in other areas, whether it's moving food, moving packages. Are we going to think of Uber in a totally different light 3 years from now versus being a company that moves people around?
So I think as a private company today, what they're selling people on is the potential and the dream. It's like a lot like Hollywood, where you're trying to portray a world that could come about. And the one that they're portraying is that they want to move people and, as you say, things. Part of that is to go there before other people do, so there's not an Uber for the logistics business. I think part of that is also attracting talent. So right after they closed down in China and merged their operations with Didi, they announced the acquisition of Auto, which is an autonomous trucking company. Part of that, I think, is that they'll have interest in the trucking space. A lot of that is talent. So they're bringing on board the team that's previously from Google that started this trucking company, and they really need those smarts to create an autonomous future, which is, I think, where their main focus is going to be. Rather than moving things around and kind of trying to Uberize UPS and FedEx's business, I think what they're really going to try and do is launch autonomous vehicles that might be able to put some packages in the back, but the primary goal is to move people around.
Well, to that end, Alexandria, the fear from Detroit and the traditional automakers is that Uber won't need them anymore, that they'll begin building their own vehicles in-house, as they have started to do with trucks and that company that they've acquired. But how far do their ambitions go in production?
So Travis, the CEO, told me that all he had to do was walk onto a manufacturing floor in Detroit to know that this is something they're never going to do. He has said that they're going to partner, so they've come up with a partnership already that they've announced. I'm sure there will be others with car manufacturers. I think what they're going to want to do is focus on the software side of autonomous vehicles and let the car makers do that on their own. The real question, though, is are automakers like GM going to push into Uber space? And I think that's why Uber feels so much urgency to launch us into the autonomous future before the car makers can get there. Because if someone else is able to have autonomous cars through a ride-hailing app, they'll be able to undercut Uber on price and really destroy their business.
Hey CNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Here you're going to find videos packed with all of the information that you need to be smarter about your finances. You can subscribe by clicking right here and click on all the videos around me or the eye right here to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.